Learning the sciences for the MCAT's a drag. It feels like there's no way you can learn all that content, and for every fact that you learn and throw into your brain, you just toss another one out the window. Medical school feels a whole lot like this. But one of the best ways to handle both situations is by using Anki, which is a free to download electronics flashcards app. Now, I've tried to study using pre-made flashcard decks and also ones that you make yourself, but I feel like it's significantly more efficient to use a good pre-made deck that you really trust. It cuts down on the time it takes to make the cards. It also cuts down on the worry of, am I really understanding this concept? And I hope that my flashcard is correct. There's a few really good ones out there that I've seen floating around Reddit. Ones like the Jack Sparrow deck or the Ortho 528 deck. But it really doesn't matter which deck that you use out of those top tier ones, as long as you're using Anki like you're supposed to. My name's John. I'm a first year medical student, a 90th percentile MCAT score, and a previous tutor for one of the big box names. But today, I'm here to teach you how to use the MilesDown deck efficiently and make content one of your strengths on the MCAT. Before we get into the video, do me a favor and hit the like button and also the subscribe button so that you can see more content from us in the future. Okay, who is MilesDown? Some of you know, MilesDown is a bit of a Reddit legend in the MCAT realm. He or she, I think he's a he, has helped thousands of students. He's given them topic summary sheets for the MCAT, a place to vent, and most importantly, he's made this really awesome Anki deck. Now, it has some limitations, and I'll discuss those at the end, but it's a really good deck. It's very solid, and it comes in just shy of 3,000 cards, which to me is about what you need for a good MCAT deck. It covers just about every topic associated with the Khan Academy videos, which is great because that's utilizing another free resource, and it has a super good essential equations deck so that you don't get on your chemistry and physics section and miss a question just because you forgot an equation. I'm sure there are hundreds of students that try to use this deck every single year to study for the MCAT, but they don't really use it efficiently. They just try to work through all 3,000 cards at the same time, and not only is that kind of foregoing what you really need to do in order to get the most out of flashcards, which is actually learn the material first and then use the flashcards for review, but you're going to end up burying yourself miles down in content review. I know you see what I did there. Anki is a tool for remembering and memorizing, not a tool for learning. So if you don't already understand the sciences, memorizing the words associated with it is not going to help you get a question correct on the MCAT. You're really shortchanging the value of Anki and also a little bit of your education if you try to use Anki to teach you rather than use it to remember. But that's enough of me ranting about Anki. I know I love it. Let me show you how to download this deck. The first thing you have to do is download Anki. Now, if you've already done this, then you can go ahead and check the timestamps in the description and skip to where we get to talking about the MilesDown deck or even how to use it if you've already got the MilesDown deck downloaded. But to download the Anki deck, all you have to do is just Google download Anki and whatever OS that you're operating on. So I'm using a MacBook, so I'll just type in download Anki Mac. Usually it's going to be the first link that pops up. This one right here, apps.ankiweb.net, as you can see. And you'll scroll to the bottom and you will download it for whatever OS is appropriate for you. And so I have a MacBook, and so I would download this one right here. So I click download, and it goes ahead and downloads it. Now I've already downloaded and installed this program, so I won't let this finish. But once it finishes, it's just like a normal app. You're just going to go ahead and click it and choose to install it or run it or whatever it requires, and it'll install it on your computer. It's totally safe as long as you're going through this apps.ankiweb.net. I don't think there's a whole lot of black market people using Anki as a cover-up, but you never know. Okay, that's it. That's how you download Anki. Pretty easy, painless. The next thing to do is download the MilesDown deck. And so you're going to go back to Google, and you're just going to type in download Anki MilesDown deck. Now, there's going to be a couple ones that pull up. This one right here, this very first one is probably going to be MilesDown's original post. But if you go to this one right here, this new version of MilesDown Anki deck organized by Khan, this is the one that I like. This is the one that makes it a lot easier and more organized. So it's organized by a Reddit user named Coffin. And what he actually did is he took the MilesDown's deck and he organized it by Khan Academy video so that you can actually have a teacher with each associated flashcard. It's a pretty cool idea, and I'll show you how to actually use it in practice. So you can go down here, and if you want to read this post, I really recommend it, because it kind of tells you a little bit about how he made this, and that'll probably help you use Anki a little bit better. But just click on this Google Drive link, and that's going to allow you to download the deck. Now, hopefully I will post this Google Drive link in my description below. Remember that this is the property of Coffin. He organized it. MilesDown is the one who put it into flashcards, and I'm pretty sure that Khan Academy is the ones that made the actual content itself. So just to show you how it works, we'll go to this, and it'll pop up right here, and you just click download. It's going to end up downloading. It'll say can't scan for the virus. I downloaded it. It didn't give me a virus. I'd trust it. Okay, now you've got Anki downloaded. You've got the MilesDown deck downloaded. What you really need to focus on next is getting your settings right for Anki, because Anki can be very, very overwhelming, and it's going to take you probably a week or two, maybe even a month to get used to. But there are some settings that make it a little bit more user-friendly. Some of them are just aesthetic, but a lot of them actually make it more functional itself. All of my setting preferences come by virtue of Anki. If you don't know who Anki is, he makes arguably the best medical school deck for Step 1, Step 2 exams. Honestly, some of these settings I understand and others I don't, but I really trust Anki. It's really worked for a lot of other people. So try it out, see if you like it. If you don't, you can change it, but I'm going to keep it because in Anki we trust. Okay, so let's open up Anki, and I'm just going to add a new one. New pre-med, open. Okay, this is probably the screen that you're getting whenever you open it up, except yours will be white because you don't have night mode on yet. I'm going to just walk through the preferences that I prefer. First thing to do is to turn on night mode. You're going to look at this for hours throughout the day. You want it to be easy on your eyes, so it's a lot easier when it's black. So to do that, we'll click Anki in the top left, go to preferences, make sure it's basic is clicked up here. You go down and you will check night mode. Now once you have night mode checked, if you want to go ahead and close out of Anki and reboot it, just close it out and open it back up, it'll actually change the color of your screen. Anki, every time you make a big change, like the color of the whole freaking program or something like that, you actually have to close it and then open it back again, and that'll let you actually see the change that you made. So just remember that anytime you make a big change to Anki, it's best to go ahead and close it out and reopen it so that you actually make sure you get the benefit from it. The rest of these, I'm just going to kind of walk you through my Anki and show you the settings that I would actually change, because I believe these are stock settings, what I have right now. But if not, then I'm going to show you what you should have clicked to begin with. On this screen, it really doesn't super matter because I'm not going to use a ton of audio whenever I'm making flashcards. It's not something I really recommend because it's kind of slow. But also, I don't think that the MilesDown deck comes with audio. So I wouldn't really worry about those. But for the sake of Anki, I have this one unclicked. The next one, we're going to go over to the scheduling tab. On the scheduling tab, I have show next review time above answer buttons checked. And what this means is it's going to show you, once you get the question correct, how many days you're going to go without seeing it. So I'll leave that one checked. I do not check the show remaining card count during review. I used to have it checked, but in all honesty, I kind of stare at it the whole time I'm studying, and I think it's more efficient to study for a set time limit than to study for a set card number, because if you study for a set card number, then you're going to start kind of shortchanging it a little bit, and you're going to just kind of tell yourself, oh yeah, I actually understood that question or that flashcard when you really didn't, just so that you can get through more cards. But if you know that you're studying for an hour and a half regardless of how many cards you get through, then you start giving every single card your best effort, because that could be the question that prevents you from getting into medical school. So that's a little dramatic, but that's why I don't check it. I do not check any of these others except for the scheduler beta. I go ahead and check that. Next day starts at, I like for my next day to start at 4 hours past midnight. That's just because I'm more of like a morning studier. I really don't study too late. After like 7 or 8, I really don't study very often. But this means it's going to reset for the next day at 4 a.m. So that's good with me. Learn ahead limit, I go 0 right here because I don't want to mess with the Anki algorithm at all. Okay, the whole beauty of Anki is that it has taken into account the science of spaced repetition and memory decay, and it tells you when you should be reviewing material in order to remember it for longer amounts of time. And so I feel like if I'm jumping ahead and learning ahead of that algorithm, then I'm kind of just stubbornly ignoring that algorithm's advice. And so I turn it off. So that's it for scheduling. When I go to network, this is talking about being able to back up your Anki cards. And so that's the reason it asks you to make an account whenever you first downloaded Anki. And that's probably a good idea because you don't want for your computer to crash and then you lose all of your flashcards that you've been working on and all your progress. It would just be a nightmare. So make sure you make an account if it gives you the option. I like to keep all 3 of these checked, but I do not like for this last one to be checked because what it's saying is that whenever you sync it, it's going to force a change in one direction. Meaning, if you're studying Anki on your computer and on your phone, because there's a flashcard app too, in case you're studying on the go, then whichever one you sync, it's going to force the other one to be kind of caught up to date. For backups, I don't know what this is, but Anki has it set at 20. And so I have it set at 20. I don't know if that means that's the number of backups it has. I don't understand why you need 20 backups, but Anki has it set at 20, and so I do. Okay, that's everything in the Preferences tab. So you can hit Close, you can close out of Anki, and then you can reopen it, and all of your settings, new pre-med, all of your settings will be reflected as so. And so I can go ahead and show you that all of these are adjusted just like we did. That's good. That's it. That's good for preferences. The next thing that you want to do is actually hit this little pinwheel and click options. Okay, this is where we're going to get into the meat of the settings. This is the really, really important stuff because this is going to start touching on how many cards am I reviewing per day, how many new cards am I reviewing per day, and stuff like that. So as far as new cards per day goes, I don't really like to exceed 100 new cards per day. Your main focus for Anki, your number one priority is going to be the cards that you're supposed to review, not the new ones. So 100 is really kind of the upper limit of what I want to learn per day, because otherwise I'm nervous that I won't retain all the ones that I'm learning. Maximum reviews per day, on the other hand, you just hit 9999, because that's the maximum amount you can have. I want to review every single card that I can, and if you're getting over 10,000 reviews in a day, you messed up because the deck is like 3,000 cards. Okay, for learning steps, this is talking about how long we're going to space out our intervals between seeing new cards. And so the interval that I like is 15 minutes. The next one is 40 minutes, which is like a day. And then you go 20 minutes. For graduating interval, I say 6 days. And then for my easy interval, I say 8 days. And this is just talking about depending on whether I thought the card was super easy or whether I just got it, kind of normally correct, how much longer should we wait until I review the next card. You can see up here, it went ahead and adjusted 15 minutes in 1 day and 3 days. That's completely fine with me. Right here, insertion order, I like to put it on random because this shows me new cards in a random order rather than like the order that I inputted them in. And I feel like this is going to minimize how much I'm going to be memorizing just the Anki cards. I want to use Anki to help me memorize and remember the facts, but I don't want to memorize a flashcard's answer just because of the way that a flashcard looks or because of where it is in a list. And so I put it in random order to try to fight that and combat that tendency to memorize that's associated with Anki. Coming down to lapses, I go 20 minutes and 40 minutes. Minimum interval 3. Leech threshold is good at 8. Leech action, this is important. Make sure that it's tag only, not suspend, because what it's referencing is if I keep missing a card, do I want to just tag it as a card that I keep missing so that I can review it more often, or do I want to suspend it, which prevents me from seeing the card, period? No, right? If I'm missing a card, I want to see it more often, so I just click tag only. I don't touch new card gathering order for new card sort order. I don't touch that either. New and review order. This is just saying, do I want to see new cards that I haven't seen yet? mixed with my reviews, or do I want to see all of my reviews first, or do I want to see all my new cards first? I mix them just because, like I mentioned earlier, it helps me kind of fight and combat the idea of memorizing, because Anki it's so easy to fall into the trap of memorizing with Anki. So anything I can do to cut down on it, I do. And mixing it or making it random whenever I have the option, that's pretty much what I do. Maximum answer time is 60 because you're probably not going to be taking longer than 60 seconds on a card, and if you are, it's probably because you're daydreaming, and so I don't really want to count that time. When it comes to burying, what that means is keeping them out of your review queue for the day. And so I actually click both of these because I want to bury siblings until the day. And what a sibling is if I have a card that has 2 fill in the blanks, those two fill in the blanks make 2 separate cards. And so burying the sibling means that I would see the first card, but I would not see the second card that day. And then the next day I would see the first card as a review, and then the second card I would see it as a new card, which is helpful because it prevents you from falling into, like I said, this trap of memorizing and just getting the second card correct. And the only reason I got it correct is because 16 seconds ago I just saw the first card. So I bury new siblings, also bury review siblings for the same reason. Audio doesn't really matter too much. Add-ons, those are really important. They help you kind of maximize the use of this deck, but I'll get to them a little bit later. As far as the advanced things go, this is talking about associated with your intervals. And so for an easy bonus, I go 1.4, 140%. Interval modifier is good at 1. Maximal interval, or the hard interval, 120%. That's good with me. Maximal interval, I like to keep my maximal interval around 200 days, especially if you're studying for the MCAT. Honestly, if you're studying for the MCAT, because I know some of you psychos do it in like 2 months or whatever, put it at 180, because that's talking about how many days is the maximum amount of time between when I will see a card. So even if I keep getting it right, by theory, you should be able to retain that knowledge for longer and longer periods of time. But the maximum interval says, well, it doesn't matter how many times I get it right, the maximum amount of time between my review for those cards is 180 days. And so that means if you're going to test in 4 months and you get a question right today, you will make sure that you see it again before your actual test, which is important to me because of my anxiety. It would stress me out to think that I got a question right 3 months ago that I would never see again when I took the test. Can't do that. So 180. Custom scheduling, don't worry about it. So boom, you save that and you are good to go as far as settings go. The next thing that you need to do is get some add-ons. So to do that, you're going to go to Tools and click Add-ons, and then Get Add-ons right here. And it's going to pop up this little box that's going to ask for a code. Okay, to find that code, you're going to go back to Google, and you're going to Google the add-on name that you want and just type Anki code after that. And so there's 6 add-ons that I really like. I'll show you how to do 2 of them. Okay, so one's special fields, add-on Anki. And so you go and click this right here, and you can kind of scroll down looking for where it says the code is. Right here. To download this add-on, please copy and paste the following code into Anki 2.1. So you will copy that, go back to Anki, and paste it, and click OK. Now I've actually already got it downloaded, but these are the 6 add-ons that I want you to download. So pause the video, go download these 6 add-ons simply by, let's just say, hierarchical tags, because that's my favorite one. Hierarchical tags, Anki add-on. So you Google that, go there, and boom, copy and paste it. So do that for all 6 of those add-ons. Once you get those, I want you to go ahead and close Anki out and open it back up, okay? All of your settings are good to go. The only thing that's left to do is import the deck. You can either drag and drop the deck, or you can just go to import file and drop it there. So I'm going to search Coffin because I don't think I have anything else titled Coffin. And there it pops up. So now I'm going to open the Coffin MilesDown deck. And there we go. So that's it. You're really ready to go. The only thing that you really got to focus on now is your workflow. So now that you got your deck downloaded, your add-ons installed, your settings adjusted, it's time to put this all to use. You've really got two options for workflow. One of them is associated with using an actual textbook, because a lot of people prefer to do that. And the other is for those that prefer to actually be taught by a lecture or some sort of video. And I'm actually going to focus on that second one a little bit more because it goes really well with this deck. Okay, so the ideal workflow for using Anki and studying for the MCAT would look like this. First thing you would do is you would do all of your Anki reviews. Second thing that you would do is you would watch new Khan Academy videos and focus on making sure that all that information actually makes sense. Third thing that you would do is you go to your appropriate tag in your Anki deck and browse through all those cards, make sure they make sense, and once they do, you would unsuspend them. And the last thing that you would do is study those new cards. Okay, so what does all that look like though? So let me show you an example. But before we do that, we're gonna have to browse, click browse, and we're going to unsuspend all those cards. What that means is we're going to take them from the pile of review cards and we're gonna put them into the pile of, I've never seen this before, so why the heck would I review a flashcard? Okay, the way that you're gonna do that is once you click browse, go to MilesDown deck down here, and then on a Mac, click Command A, whatever's gonna highlight all of them, and then click Command J. Okay, you could also go up here to the top and click toggle suspend for instead of Command J. You see how it's saying that normally I have 100 cards to review? Well, now I've suspended it, I should have 0 because I have nothing in my cards to review pile. So after you woke up that morning and did all of your cards for review, yours would theoretically look like this. You'd have 0 new and 0 due. The next thing to do would be to watch the Khan Academy videos and then unsuspend those associated cards. Go to Google and go to khanacademy.org. Khan Academy is great. They've got all these free videos and they're really solid for the MCAT. Go to courses and then go down here to MCAT. Where is it? You can probably see it. You're screaming at. Oh, there it is. Now, all of these have associated videos. These are the topics that are on the MCAT. There's a bunch of them, right? 3,000 cards is a lot. 100 or so, however many of these videos, that's a lot. But it is the MCAT, so there is some of that you got to be prepared for. I would click the very first video. I'd watch all of these lectures, okay? I would probably even take this practice question set just to make sure I felt like I really understood it. Don't worry about going down here, enzyme structure and function, because those are actually different units associated with biomolecules. So I would probably just focus on the amino acids and proteins and watch all of those. Then I would open up Anki again. Go to that browse feature, and now we have to find the cards that are associated with those videos. And this is why this Coffin deck is awesome, because you actually can go down to these tags, open it up, and we just did amino acids, right, which is associated with biochemistry. So go to biochemistry and then amino acids. So they actually have all of these videos organized into specific tags. So now I can click through these and make sure that I understand all these concepts. You don't have to have them memorized. You just need to understand them, have them make sense in your brain, you know, what these amino acids look like, what their charges are. And then once you say, I understand all those, okay, well, I'm going to Command A and Command J them. So now those are ready for me to review. Okay, well, maybe you want to do more in that day. So let me show you an example of how we do something else. And so let's go to one a little bit more obscure, something like, let's do physics. The first one in physics. Oh, vectors and scalars. Wonderful. Everybody's favorite subject. So you watch all these videos about vectors and scalars, and then you would go and unsuspend the appropriate cards. So watch these videos, take these questions, make sure you can get the math right, because that's important. And then we're going to go back to Anki, and then we're going to look through these tags, go to physics, and let's see if there's anything about vectors and scalars. Okay, so I don't see anything about vectors and scalars. That means it's probably a smaller topic under another larger topic. And so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go up to the search bar. I'm going to type in vector and see if it pulls up vectors or scalars. And you see here, this is the actual flashcard underneath it. And so it's showing me that, yeah, we 100% include some of the things that you saw in your videos. And so these are actually the flashcards I'm looking to unsuspend. And so I'm curious as to what tag, what deck those are in. And so I can look right down here to see what tag it's in, and it is in kinematics. So now I'm in the physics, and I go down to kinematics, and I open up kinematics and scroll through here and look for vectors. There it is. These are the vector ones right there. So I'd select all these vector ones and I would unsuspend them. Select, 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 and Command J, unsuspend them. Now I've got 45 new cards to review for the day. So you go ahead and study through them. So you look at these, this amino acid is, and let's say that you know that this is tyrosine. Okay, that's great. So you tell yourself, okay, this is tyrosine, and notice that it actually pops up a lot of extra material associated with it. It pops up the 3-letter code, the 1-letter code, the chemistry of it, kind of what's special about it. In fact, that's a precursor to catecholamines, and it even includes a graph and a Khan Academy link. And so if you're like, oh crap, what the heck is that? You can always click this Khan Academy link and it will take you to the exact video that it pulled it from, which is pretty cool. Once you've watched all your videos and unsuspended all the cards for the day, all that's left to do is go back through and study and learn those new cards. So again, I'm going to post the ideal workflow now that you kind of understand a little bit more, but it looks like us doing Anki reviews. Then you watch the new Khan Academy videos, make sure that you understand them. Third thing you do is you go to the appropriate tag in your Anki deck and unsuspend those cards for that specific video, and then you study those new cards. And boom, that's it. That's your content. That's the MCAT content for free. That's good flashcards for free. Now, if you're planning on using this, Khan Academy and this MilesDown deck as your primary means of content prep, it's a really good idea to calculate how many videos you'll need to watch per day, or how many sections you'll need to get through per day in order to finish 4 to 6 weeks before your actual exam. Those last 4 to 6 weeks should be filled with a lot of practice tests and Anki reviews rather than learning new content, but we'll get to that in a little bit later video. So make sure you're subscribed. Now, if you prefer to learn with books, I completely understand, but you still want to make sure you're using this Anki deck for some spaced repetition. It's just going to look a little bit different workflow wise. The best way to do that is a little tedious, but it's just as you come to a new topic when you're reading through your book, you're just going to have to search Anki in the browse function and unsuspend that specific card. It's going to be a little bit more tedious, but if you prefer to learn with the book, it's still going to be a heck of a lot faster than making your own flashcards, whether it be handwritten or making your own Anki cards, for example. It's also going to include the links to the Khan Academy videos in case you are reviewing a card 6 months later and you're like, oh crap, I actually don't understand Ohm's law. Maybe I should go review it. The idea of supplementing with outside resources for this MilesDown deck kind of leads me to the biggest weakness for the MilesDown deck, and that is it is very streamlined, and therefore it's not quite as comprehensive as some of the others like the Sparrow and the Ortho 528. But from what I've seen, it's got everything and more that you're going to need to be successful in the exam. If you're aiming for a 515 plus, these are all the sciences that you need, and as long as you pair it with some good, meaningful strategies and practice passages, this is all you need. That's it. You've got a nice workflow set up that gets you organized with lectures and flashcards and practice questions, and they're all for free. So if you learned something new, then go ahead and share this video with a friend. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also comment below and let me know what deck you'd like me to show you how to use next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.